Welcome to War of the Weirds, where the strange the discovery, the greater chance of victory. In war, there are some who fall by the wayside, and in this episode we honor the fallen. Not spoken of in the heat of battle, but now we present to you an edition of what is known as Collateral Damage.
Welcome all! I have no idea what to say for this introduction because usually Broomy does it. But I'm taking over the show today. It's me, Dirty Dan.
I don't think that's true.
You're right. I'm Mystic.
Oh yeah, I'm Broomy.
Yeah. All right. So this is a Collateral Damage episode.
True.
It is true. Last week we talked about the Forever Hungry Man, Terrar.
Yeah,
that was my topic.
Mm-hmm.
And in researching good old Terrar and his never-ending appetite, there was a see also notation for a man named Charles Domery, also called Charles Domers. Which, okay, I want to just real quick add that I see that a lot in
what?
Like in articles and like looking up people.
Yeah.
It'll say like you can also his name is also this that's completely different. Like how do you have completely different names? Like okay, if it was like Charles, also known as Chuck, I'm like okay, I get that. But you can't have a different last name.
He begs to differ.
And it's not like he changed names like a maiden name versus a married name. It's just the part of the same name and then it's spelled different at the end.
Oh yeah. You know, some people do that. Like, there are some, like, show business names that are, like, the only difference is they, like, switch, like, there isn't an E at the end, like you just said. Because they're like, it's better that way.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Willem Dafoe's real name is William. I learned that.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And he was like, "No, I'm gonna go with Willem." He said that his dad's name is William, and he said something about like they just kind of said, "Oh, no, I got it right here. I got it pulled up."
You always have it pulled up.
Well, I originally found this on an interview.
Yeah.
I think it was like an interview with like Jimmy Fallon or Conan.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I got it. It says his surname is French. He acquired the nickname Willem, which is the Dutch version of William. He said that about half of his family puts the emphasis on the first half of the name, so that he was like called William instead of William, like equally spread out.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, hey, William, and it just kind of became Willem. And that was like, it wasn't like he changed his name just for showbiz, which is the distinction that I want to make. It's just like that's just kind of like what naturally happened in his family, and then he just stuck with it.
Yeah,
because his dad's name was William Dafoe, so that was kind of how they differentiated. All right.
And he's a great actor.
He is great. He was in. Did you see Togo? I watched that recently. In the Lighthouse. He was in the Lighthouse. I need to watch that.
I didn't see that. I did see Antichrist.
Oh, I did not see that.
Well, if you want to see some messed up stuff, watch that movie.
Is that going to be like What Happens If I Lose? I have to watch that?
I mean, it could be, but I wouldn't do that because it's not. You would probably enjoy it. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
Darren Aronofsky. He made Black Swan. He's made a lot of crazier stuff.
Yeah.
I might have it. That's wrong. That's not the same director. I get them mixed up. Anyway, go on.
Speaking of directors, do you know the movie Parasite that came out?
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
I have not seen that one, but I love that director.
I like that movie too, and I did not know that he is the same director that did Snowpiercer.
He did Snowpiercer, and I pretty recently saw Okja on Netflix.
Ooh, send me that one.
Okay, J.A.
It sounds familiar on my Sounds familiar. It might be on my list. I thought you were saying, like, okay, you'll send it, but you're spelling it.
Yeah.
I was looking up commentary about Parasite, the movie, because I was like, I feel like I didn't get all this because I'm not that bright. So let me see like what people that actually know what they're talking about have to say about it. And then saw that he did some similar themes with Snowpiercer. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because there's a YouTube video that I have not seen Snowpiercer yet, but I want to watch it. Now I have two reasons to watch it. One is because I like the movie Parasite, so I want to see what the director, like what else he does. The second thing is there's a YouTube video that's on my list, like recommended for me, that I see pop up all the time, and it says like reasons why Snowpiercer takes place in the Willy Wonka universe. And there's no way I'm gonna let that slide.
But you did not watch that.
I haven't watched it yet because I want to see Snowpiercer first.
I mean, they're a person making a video,
but it's like such a popular video.
Yeah.
It's not like just like anybody can make like a random like, but it's like one of the not like infographics, but like one of the channels that does stuff like this, like things you may have missed in the new movie, like Easter eggs and blah blah blah. But all right, cool. So Charles Domery, very similar story to Terrar, so I'm not going to go super in depth into it because or just repeat.
That's why it's collateral damage,
right?
And you didn't bring it in as your main story like next week.
Right. Yeah. What if I did like the same thing next week?
So this guy always hungry, ate a cat.
He did eat a cat.
Baby.
He did eat a cat. He didn't eat a baby, but he did something not as bad, but weirder.
He didn't eat a baby. How pedestrian.
I know. He's not. Yeah. Does he really have an appetite if he's not willing to push the limits of? I don't know. All right. So he was also in the army. Mm-hmm. He was serving in the Prussian and French armies, and he had his rations. They were not enough. He enrolled. By the way, he says he went in the army when he was 13.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. So that's. Yeah, he'd enlisted in the Prussian army at age 13. At 13 is when he was noted for having his appetite. So I'm guessing that like my first thought was that when he went to the army, they like took note of it because things were rationed. But it says that all of his brothers, he had 8 other brothers, and all 9 of them had the same quote unquote condition. And that his father also ate like with like had a pretty healthy appetite, and would just like half boil his meat just because he like couldn't wait to have it cooked. He just like had to make it safe and then would eat it. Yeah. So that was he was normal. He was pretty tall. He's like 6'3". But normal build. Pretty. They said he had a pleasant countenance, which I think is like a very formal way of saying like he's probably pretty. Yeah.
A pleasant countenance.
Yeah.
You have a pleasant countenance today.
That's how I flirt on Tinder. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
It just says what? I don't know what it says. I haven't been on Tinder personally.
I don't know. I'm not on Tinder.
but like it just says you are blocked from sending messages to this user.
Right. You can no longer. Yeah. He. I'll laugh every time. Okay, I'm not laughing at the first part because the first part is about eating cats, so I'm not laughing at that. But I'm laughing at the second part.
Yeah, you're a psychopath. Yeah.
First thing is he ate while he was stationed in Paris for 1 year. He got his rations, his daily rations, like twice a day. He is recorded as having eaten 174 cats in that year.
Seems a little high.
Yeah.
I would have maybe...
That's a few more cats than I've eaten.
I would at least one a week at most, you know?
Like, because a cat, that's like a chicken. Maybe not as much meat as a chicken, but like, a whole chicken, if you had to, you could make it last like one whole chicken, like maybe 2 days or so.
And these are what? Just feral stray cats? And shit?
Yeah. He said that. So one biographer said that he he does not eat their skin. He eats 174 cats, dead or alive, and had several quote several severe conflicts in the act of destroying them by feeling the effects of their torments on his face and hands. So like they fought back and clawed him up but he's like, no, I gotta eat you. He also ate dogs and rats. And
he ate live dead cats. He ate them dogs and rats.
Yes, that's your next single, I think.
Yeah, I think so. To the top of the pops with that one.
Yeah. He was imprisoned. While he was imprisoned, this says that he ate everything except the walls. He's eaten one dead cat and about 20 rats while he was imprisoned. He liked raw meat.
If he didn't, he would be like, what are you doing, pal?
Yeah. He ate 10. He ate the rations of 10 men every day, and he just ate them raw, like beef and mutton and stuff.
So he was just like in a city or place's prison, like for whatever, for eating cats. I don't know, like
So, I don't exactly know why he was imprisoned. Oh, he was imprisoned because his boat was captured. When he was but I thought when I was first reading this, I thought that he was in prison because of something that happened on the ship, which I will tell you now. While he was at war on the ship, he had a comrade. He was in the middle of a battle, right? Mm-hmm. His comrade got shot with a cannonball, and they had to sever. They had to like amputate his leg, and he like ran over and grabbed the leg and tried to start eating it, like when they cut it off.
I mean, it's weird to me, these guys, and it's like, I don't know, the guy who like boils the, what, you just...
Oh, I was mistaken. It happened during the battle. The leg was shot off, and it was, while it was severed, it wasn't like amputated as a result of the injury. It was shot off, and he grabbed it and tried to eat it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like they're fighting for their lives, and he's just like, I gotta eat this right now.
Yeah, can't stop, won't stop.
Right.
But my thing is like, if you're always hungry, like what, and you're boiling chicken. Let's first start there. You're boiling chicken, right?
Right.
You're gonna wait until it's half boiled and then eat it. To me, I'm like, I don't know. Why don't you fully boil it? And...
Right. If you're waiting a little bit, what's a few more minutes? Like,
yeah,
stagger.
It doesn't really
start with an appetizer.
Because you're not like, you're gonna get the amount of food you're gonna get. Period. Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
What?
Unless his hunger is so gnawing that he has to eat. I don't know. What I was laughing at though, so there was some experimentation done on him too, with like his appetite. But he, when he was imprisoned, one of his captors wrote, he often devours a bullock's liver, a cow, liver raw, 3 pounds of candles, a few pounds of raw beef in one day, and never eats bread or vegetables. He washes it all down with water if his allowance of beer is expended. His stomach never rejected anything. He never vomits, no matter what he eats or however much he eats.
I mean, to me, I'm like, if I was the captors, I don't know. I find it odd that. Wait, were these experiments? They were done by
those weren't the experiments. That was just the end of his prison, because I was telling you about the rats and stuff. No.
Why?
We got to get into the
experiments. Why would they
yeah.
oblige him at all?
I don't know. Maybe they were became impressed. They were like, they started. Yeah. He was like, I'm really hungry, and they were like, all right, we'll give you a little bit more, and they're like, just kept going. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, if I were a compassionate human being and this person always felt hungry, I understand why I might continue to feed him. But if you're like if he's a prisoner of war, I mean, I find it odd.
Day one, he's eating rats, and they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "They're like, we haven't even starved you yet." He's like, "No, I'm starving."
I'm
and
a
so
rat
like
eater.
they're eating rats and stuff, and he's like, I mean, that's good for pest control. Like, I don't know why they stopped him, but he I read an article the other day about why you should not clear rats out of cities, and I was like, because they cover specific strains of bacteria that you can like become immune to, but if you clear them out, then a new like troop of mice will move in.
Yeah,
and then you're not exposed to that, and they can get you sick. Troop, we're gonna get into why I use that word in a second, but
okay.
That's for the next part of this episode. All right, so here's the experimentation. Okay. Last thing before we go into the experimental part. This is what I was laughing at really hard. He never ate vegetables, but if his daily rations were not enough, he was known to eat 4 to 5 pounds of grass daily to fill his belly. Do you know how much grass?
Yeah, that's a
4 to 5 pounds.
4 to 5 pounds of grass. What?
A day.
Was he like kept outside like
he
a
would
cow?
He would just like go and like pick it all the time, and like this is when he was at station in Paris. He had 174 cats, his normal rations plus 4 to 5 pounds of grass a day.
I mean, that's insane. Like,
it is insane.
It takes so much effort.
I know. It's like he's expending the energy. He's burning more fuel to eat that than he would be if he had just like laid around and not ate.
Yeah. But of course, like it's all about the feeling of
it's a feeling
maybe
full, not like
getting full.
Yeah. It's not like his body needs the calories. It's just that his stomach does or his brain does. All right. So prison commander, was like, hey, this guy's got some things. He's a prisoner of war. And there's a thing called the Commissioners for Taking Care of Sick and Wounded Seamen and for the Care of Treatment of Prisoners of War, which is a mouthful, and I feel like they could have abbreviated it. But it was Medical Services for the Navy.
I think it's a perfect name.
Yeah. So there were 2 doctors there that were like, hey, let's test him. See. So he would wake up at 4 a.m., get 4 pounds of raw cow udder, and he ate like immediately. He didn't like, what's this? He didn't have any questions. They just like, here, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna eat this. They didn't even say like, hey, this is for you to eat. They just gave it to him. He's like, well, I'm gonna eat it. 9:30, he got 5 pounds of raw beef, 12 large tallow candles totaling 1 pound, so a pound of candles, and a bottle of wine. And he ate all that. He didn't eat the bottle. He drank the bottle.
Why?
Well, he drank the liquids inside the bottle.
If he drank glass, that would be an interesting.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
So far, incredibly boring story. No.
Right. Yeah.
So why does he eat candles? Like what?
Maybe it's
what
just
is that?
filling. I don't know. Maybe they were just like, let's see if he'll do it. He ate candles when he was imprisoned, and so then they're like, well, let's just see to what extent he'll do it. So that was 4 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. Then at 1 p.m., he had another 5 pounds of beef, another pound of candles, 3 large bottles of wine.
A partridge in a pear tree?
Yeah, pretty much. During the course of the experiment, he, like up until this day, he did not poop or pee or vomit at all. His pulse stayed the same, and his skin didn't change in temperature. Like, remember, Terrar got really hot and started sweating and like emitted a foul odor, and people said you could almost see the vapor, like of his steam as he ate. None of this happened to him. He just ate normally. At 6:15 p.m., he would go back to his quarters, and he said that he was in pretty good spirits. He danced and he smoked his pipe and then drank another bottle of wine.
That's
so that's
nice.
That's the story of him. Nobody knows why. So the polyphagia is called, or that's the term for excessive appetite. So that's like what he and Terrar had. No, there are different. Nobody knows what caused it. There are different causes in general. One theory is hyperthyroidism, because it can cause you to have extreme appetite, weight loss, and like sweating and heat intolerance, and also fine hair. Which that's why I mentioned that in the thing last week. I was like, this sounds like I'm making a dating profile for him. Hyperthyroidism can like affect your hair growth, and you can have fine hair. So that's and
that's also, just a condition, basically.
Yeah.
You may or may not have.
Right. There could also be he had damage to his amygdala, which is a part of the brain. And it's towards the back of the brain, and it's usually like memory, involved with memory, decisions, and your like emotional regulation.
Pretty
and
important.
It like has an influence on your limbic system, which is like your emotional reaction to stuff. So that can also cause increased appetite, and
maybe decreased hesitance to eat live cats.
Right, yeah, maybe it affects like you're like, I'm not emotionally affected by this as much, or yeah, so that's pretty wild to me. This is a thing.
Yeah. I
wonder, like, people who do, like, people, because the article I read for Charles Domery, I like the title of it, and I will cite this. It's called The Man Who Ate Anything and a Whole Lot of It. I was like, that's funny. But that's one of the articles I used. But they compared him to like Joey Chestnut a lot. For the hot dog eating champion or whatever.
Oh, yeah. I was like, I should I know who Joey Chestnut is?
Yeah. Which I thought like Joey Chestnut was like a nickname, where he like also had like the world record for eating like the most chestnuts. No, that's just his name. Maybe he could. I don't know. But I wonder if people like that, like, did they? I mean, some people practice for it and do stuff like that. Like they love doing it. I wonder if some people, like, how many people, that's just how they always ate. Because he's a pretty thin dude.
Yeah. What? Joey Chestnut?
Joey Chestnut. I mean, he's not like super thin, but he's like, he's like a normal build.
The Japanese guy who was the champion for hot dog eating for a long time, he was thin as hell, and he was a guy who practiced.
So he trained himself to do this, or is it like, do you think people
he discovered in general like that he could? Yeah. I don't think he does like as a rule when eating, but like he I saw a thing on him. I think he very much practices a lot.
But like this guy, he ate what 5, 10, 14 pounds of raw beef, 4 to 5 bottles of wine, and he had another one that night, and then 2 pounds of candles. He ate all that in a day. This guy did.
Yeah, I mean, you have some beef, have some wine,
what
side a candle.
The candles.
It's a fucking great night, Mystic. Stop your judgment.
A candle at dinner. He's like a bottle of wine and candles. Like, oh no, the candles are actually that's for me. I ordered this.
Yeah, like it's like a sort of thing where he's like, he has his friend. Gets a date over. He has his friend be the waiter or whatever.
Yeah.
And they ask for wine. What do you have to drink? And then he pours them the wine. And then the friend leaves, and she's like, "Oh, we didn't order anything." He's like, "Meal's already here. There's 2 candles on the table."
Your profile said you have very fine hair. One of the doctors, he just like his how he ate all this stuff. He records that he, when his throat is dry from like eating so much, he would strip the grease off of the candles between his teeth, and to lubricate his throat, and then he would eat the candles in a few mouthfuls. He would wrap up the wick he would ball it up and then swallow it all whole.
What?
Yeah. Where in the food pyramid do candles fall? Is that like a starch or tallow candles? That's like fat, right?
I mean, I don't know the nutritional
So
facts of candles.
Yeah.
Mystic, it might surprise you to know.
I can't believe that. What am I doing the show with you for? If this is you don't have that information.
I'm sorry, I've failed you, and I don't know if I'll ever recover. But here's a random thing, real quick. It's to insert in the middle of this collateral damage.
Yeah.
So Netflix. I had a topic. I didn't prepare it completely, but I prepared like sources for the topic to look into. And Netflix releases a documentary and it's number 1.
Oh, the Tiger King?
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about that because like 3 people have texted me. Somebody texted me just now while recording this and said that I should watch it. They just right up my alley. But I was like, well, it's like number 1 in the world right now. So I mean, it's kind of like up everybody's alley.
Yeah.
I think it's like, this is my niche thing. Do you say niche or niche, by the way? I say niche, but I've heard people say niche recently.
I say niche.
I think it's like you got to find your niche, but it's like a niche subject.
Yeah. That is, I feel like that's correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, that's a great one that I'll put in my back pocket. But now that it's number 1 on Netflix, I'm like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Everybody's already heard the story. I mean, I'm sure they'd enjoy it or whatever, but it's like, and it's so in depth. It's a several part documentary series that it's like, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Nate Bargatze has a bit about the guy who like owns tigers, and I don't know if it was like this guy. But from like years ago, he wrote this bit.
Yeah, there are like weird big cat people in general, and other exotic animals that people shouldn't have around.
Yeah.
But yeah. Did you have anything else other than those 2 gentlemen? Yeah,
I do. I want to talk about the let's talk about the coronavirus real quick. So I used the word troop earlier when I was talking about mice, and the reason that I do that is because in Thailand there are articles and videos showing hundreds of monkeys swarming the streets as rival monkey gangs fight over food that tourists usually feed them, that they're not receiving as much food because tourism has dropped. And so it says the troops of monkeys can reach up to 500 members, and they're just fighting in the streets of Thailand.
Wow.
And the meme that I was sent, like as a caption to this article, says, "I'll admit that I did not have monkey gang war on my coronavirus bingo card."
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so basically people aren't supposed to feed the monkeys, I imagine.
Right. Oh yeah.
Just generally that's a rule.
And they have like the temple their monkeys all hang out.
Yeah, but now it's like a temple in a video game where a bunch of people Mortal Kombat but with baboons. I don't know if they're baboons.
I think they're macaques, but yeah.
Macaque.
Baboons are, I think that's Africa. But yeah, which also, Thailand's like one of their biggest things is tourism, and they're suspected, they had like 39 million tourists last year. They're expected to only have like 9 million this year and lose 30 million tourists.
Woo!
Wow.
Yeah, that's 30 million income sources.
Yeah.
No.
And it's already a struggling economy. I saw, monkeys are really smart. I I think I may have mentioned this before, but there's some monkeys will pluck hair off of people, like in cities like this where they're like in close contact with humans, and use it to floss their teeth. That's crazy that monkeys can do that and know how to do that and know that they should, or that, I mean, I guess they feel like discomfort, but
yeah,
they're not just like, I really need to do this. My dentist has been on me.
Yeah, my dentist.
But they feel like
which I mean, this is a overwrought topic, but not your thing, but
yeah,
just the idea of your dentist like being like frustrated with you.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm keeping you in business, you
exactly.
dumb fuck.
Exactly.
You should
like,
say, I don't know,
be feeding me candy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should love it. Yeah. Also, monkeys. There's I could have to look up where. I think I've mentioned this before, but there's monkeys that subsist on a certain type of fruit that is available. Like that becomes their only food source during a certain season when everything else isn't blooming, and it's toxic in large quantities. And because that's all they're eating, it becomes toxic to them. But they steal charcoal from the neighboring cities and eat it to break down the poison in their system.
Really?
Yeah,
and that works.
And it works. Yeah. Like, I don't know how they figured that out and then communicated it that that's what they got to do. Or maybe it's one of those things where like pregnant women crave dirt because they need more iron, or like some, your body like knows what's up even if your brain doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it might be a thing where it's just sort of over time developed.
Yeah.
Where it's a thing that they do.
Yeah. Another coronavirus article. There was a promo bot. Philadelphia-based startup run by Russians unleashed a friendly robot into New York's Times Square, asking people whether they had coronavirus symptoms. It cannot actually detect the virus or diagnose anything, but it can just like ask about symptoms and then reduce exposure of doctors and confronting people. It asks about the symptoms, and if the person says that they don't have any symptoms, it reassures them that they might be okay. I don't know if that's really reassuring, but that's very funny. That's like you might
have
be fine.
50% chance of being all right.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Can you imagine
Please
like, walking down the street and all of a sudden a robot comes up and is like, "Let's talk about your medical history." You're like, and then it's like, "Well, you might be okay. You might not. I don't know."
Yeah.
There
was that. Hold on, real quick.
Go ahead. Yeah.
There's that story of a robot that was like a police robot for like a mall area, and somebody came to report a crime, and it just started singing and running away. It was bizarre.
That's
but
good.
Yeah,
that's a good one. And then the third story about the coronavirus. This was in Spanish. The same person recommended all these to me, so shout out. It's in Spanish. She speaks Spanish, so she gave me a translation of it. And I mean, she also reads Spanish, which is how she's able to not just speak it. But the translation is: a man appeared at the police station around 6:30 p.m. asking to be taken/detained because he was sure that he was a carrier of COVID-19, also called the coronavirus. So the police had to call in an ambulance. Medical personnel came in and discovered that he had no symptoms whatsoever of the coronavirus infection and said that he should return home. This guy he's 44 years old. 2 hours later, he comes back to the police station begging to be detained. He was outraged that he had to follow quarantine procedures because he was fed up with being stuck in the house with his mom. He came and asked them to arrest him because he could not stand being locked in a house with his mom.
I mean,
what?
It's
like prison is better than this.
The mother-in-law jokes.
There we go.
They work well with him. He laughs every time at them.
Yeah, he's like, not even mother-in-law, just my own mom. She's the worst. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess she's also my mother-in-law because she's my mother. But no, that's what a silly Billy. What a dummy. You're gonna go to a police station? God. I mean, to me, it's just like, you're risking yourself more. But he's just like, I hate my mother. So
yeah. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. Cool. They should like
wild stuff.
People are whatever. In that's all I got. In closing, the guy Charles Domery, that should give you dates for this. 1778 to like after the 1800s. Nobody knows like what happened to him, or he just faded off into obscurity. He was brought back, like he was brought back into media in 1852 because Charles Dickens wrote about him and said, "Now it is my opinion that a man like this, dining in public on the stage of Drury Lane, would draw much better than a mere tragedian. Tragedian? I don't know. It's tragedy. A person who does tragedies.
Oh, it's like a comedian,
right?
But
right.
It's a tragedian.
Yeah. Who choose unsubstantial words instead of wholesome beef."
Whoa! Like wholesome beef.
He's like, I would rather watch this guy eat than anything going on at Drury Lane, where these people are doing their tragedies, because this all sucks.
I mean, you know what? Like, me too, probably, because it's like, it's interesting. Whereas, probably a bunch of shitty actors. I don't know.
This is a new life goal that I have. My legacy. I want someone in the future to be like, I would rather watch this idiot do this gross thing than to watch like the Kardashians or whatever's on TV. Like, I want to be like the worst thing that he's using to epitomize how awful popular culture is.
Just something.
Just whatever I do, I just want it to be
gross.
so unsavory and gross and
yeah.
Huh. Weird. Yeah. So that's what I got.
I got nothing. I have
Cool.
the robot story. I have the Netflix thing. Those little like 2-second things. That's what I have.
Yeah. We got some good stuff coming for you on this Thursday. Oh, I was gonna tell you. Okay, when I was leaving, we have some good stuff coming this Thursday. We'll have our regularly scheduled episode recording. So by the time you're hearing this, like the next Thursday that you experience will be the release of an episode. The real quick, when I was leaving work today, we have our building has like some grass around it and 2 picnic tables on the property, and it's just like our building faces like a strip mall and a parking lot. And when I walk outside, these 2 ladies are sitting on the picnic table, like sitting at the picnic table, not on it. And I was like, kind of looked at them, cause like, what are you doing on the property? Like, I wasn't rude. I was leaving. I was like, I'm off work. I don't care what they do. But I just kind of looked over at them very curiously, and the lady, they both turned to look at me, and she goes, "Oh, she's painting." And I was like, "What?" And she said, "She's painting me." I was like, you say that like it answers questions, but it raises many more. So she was sitting there posed, and she had like a little plant, and the lady she just had all of her art supplies, and she was just painting her. And then she was like, "Do you want me to paint your dog?" I was like, "No, I gotta go. I don't." She was like, "But she's very pretty." I was like, "Okay, thank you. Still going. I don't know what this is. I don't want to be a part of whatever's happening."
Pretty things in the world. You're gonna
like,
have a lot of things to paint.
This strip mall and this in the parking lot, it cannot be a beautiful background for this whatever rendition of this lady you're painting.
Yeah, that was the next Mona Lisa. Your dog could have been the next.
She could have been
Dog-a-Lisa.
So that happened when I was leaving work, and I was very confused because they looked at me. She said it like so, like, "Oh, she's just painting me." Like, what? How does that? That is not a resolution to my inquiries.
Thank you for your countenance, but
you have such a pleasant countenance.
But yeah. All right, so
that's all.
We'll see ya on the next one.